Oh, all right. Now we're live. All right. So this is the week ending. This is the broadcast TCM, the Competent Man Wall Street Week with TCM. That's me. Week ending Friday, September 22nd. Broadcast date Saturday, September 23rd, 10 p.m. Or we're actually quarter after. This is broadcast number 2. So we're not much going on in the market. But after last week, I realized that Verizon might be ideal for a theta wheel. And basically, with a theta wheel, what you do is you started off with writing put options. And when the stock eventually gets put to you, then you take the other side of that. You start writing call options. And the objective is that you're going to do better than the just straight holding the stock. So if you take a look now, wait a minute. Presentation. Wait a minute, I gotta get it. So share screen. All right, so now I got screen 2 shared. Okay, so Verizon right now, 33.28, dividend yields about 7.9, almost 8%. So if you just bought the shares and held on to them, you'd get 8%, and you could improve that by get to keep the internal rate by setting up a drip plan. I'm sure that Verizon has one. You probably even get. And let me just quickly check. What if you get any kind of special provisions for doing it? Verizon drip program. I guess the people writing about the drip plan, they don't seem too enthusiastic. Some of the drip plans, they give you like a little discount, so you actually get a benefit on what you would get in shares by going through the drip plan. However, Verizon's there's a $5 setup fee, and then it's 5% fee on the total amount reinvested up to a maximum of $2. But again, the whole benefit of doing that is that basically you're reinvesting the dividends, and whatever you start off with, however you let it run, effectively you're getting 8% on it indefinitely, as long as it keeps rolling into it. Not terrible, but at least. So I'm looking to see. Oh, here we go. Well, let me see if I can log in to get a quote. Well, that's interesting. TD Ameritrade, I guess, got bought up by Charles Schwab. So I'm trying to see about getting a quote on put options. Oh, here we go. Easy. Oh, wait a minute. So let's see. Basically, since you want these to be exercised, Well, unfortunately, there's not much premium to them. So looking here at Verizon, let's see, what do we got? Even, no, those are calls. Puts, well, let's see, 33.28. So it's basically around the strike price, it's all theta, which is the time value. So well, again, if you whoops, if you got so 0.99, 33.28. So you can get an extra 2.9% by writing a put option on it. Although the stock may, well, again, you're just looking for the stock to get assigned to you around the current price and basically your premium. So that would be, and then on the reverse side, assuming today the shares got put to you, so the people are buying at 0.96 and they're selling at 1.01. So if you had the shares and you wanted to write a call option against your 100 shares, you could get it. So it looks like on each execution of the theta wheel, you're going to be getting about 2.9%. You're going to buy the options are around the strike price at around the 33.50, going off at about $1 in each direction. So if you have the cash sitting in your account, if you have the 33.28, you write one put option with a strike price of 33.50, and you collect $100. And if the stock doesn't drop below that before the expiration date, actually, let me check to see. October 6th. So that's like, well, that's only like 2 weeks. So this 2.9%, this 2.9% is on an absolute basis. However, if you really want to properly compare it, you really should analyze. I mean, yeah, make it an annual percentage rate. So we got today, which is the 23rd, and then the 6th. So we look to see how many days is that. Uh, 13 days, 365 days in a year. So that's only about, so let's see, we take that and we divide it by, so basically, if you wrote the put option and you got your 2.9% and the stocks didn't get put to you, on an annualized basis, it would be like getting 83%. And again, the same thing on the other part of the beta wheel. If if the stock gets put to you, or the theta wheel, if the stock gets put to you, you hold on to it and you write a call option. If nothing happens, then you just keep writing another call out. You just keep writing call options a few weeks out. And then when the stock gets called away, you then immediately turn around and write a put option on it, and you keep going back and forth. And every time you go back and forth, you're collecting at 2.97%. On an annualized basis, that's like 83%. Because if you did this 26, well, wait a minute. Let's see, how many turns is this? That's that divided by that. If you did that 28 times, on your 3,300, you'd make 2,800. And the best thing is, I don't know, if something happens, like, I don't know, all of a sudden you become incapacitated or something, the theta wheel would just simply stop running and you'd eventually just be sitting there in cash. Either you'd have the shares just sitting there at the 7.9% dividend, collecting the dividends and going into a drip plan, or you'd have put options, which either they'd expire or the shares would get put to you. And again, same end result. Probably if something happened and you weren't able to execute any orders or didn't know what to do and just let things alone, eventually either the puts would get executed or you'd be in puts in the call and the stock doesn't get shared away. But the end result at the end of the day, it probably would just end up sitting in shares and you'd be collecting a 7.9% dividend. If God forbid something happened to you and you just weren't able to issue any orders. And again, there's no, it's Verizon's relatively stable, so you don't have to worry about anything happening, or like some tech company where all of a sudden it drops a third and you've got all kinds of problems. And let's see. Whoops. Whoops. All right, so basically that, again, by doing a theta wheel on Verizon, you turn in today's environment, 7.9% is a relatively good dividend, but you can juice it and get it up to 80 or 83% with a theta wheel. Just got to watch what you're doing and make sure that you understand, when you place these orders. Again, basically a call option is the right to buy the stock at a certain price. In our example here, at 33.30 at $33.50, or when you're writing the put options, you're entering into a contract to get the shares at $33.50. So you have to make sure you have that much money available in your account so that they can be executed. There are certain situations that you might want execute the call options, but since you're going to be writing them, so somebody else might call the stock away from you. You got to watch out around dividend dates, because there's certain situations where if the price of the option is cheap enough, it's up to it's profitable for the other side to call the stock away before the ex-dividend date, so they get to collect the quarterly dividend. And basically, that's all I have for this week. I don't know. It just seems ho-hum. But again, I'm showing you the possibility of how to earn 80% or so on your money, as long as you're careful with what you're doing with a theta wheel. Oh, and the reason why they call it a theta wheel, because basically what you're doing by writing options going in both directions. You're playing on the time value, which in option terms is what they call the theta. Um, Ideally, what you hope is when you write, I guess there's two views. One view is that you hope that the stock, the things never get executed. So you're constantly collecting theta premiums. You're writing put and call options, and you're making money on the options decaying down to zero as the time runs out. However, I would put it to you is that in a situation like this, that if there's more volatility and the stocks bouncing all over the place, as long as on each trade you're making a profit, you want is a lot of volatility. But again, this is Verizon, so the beta is probably very low. You know, doesn't really, the market could be going all over the place, and it would be, a big move on it would be a few points. Which for this kind of, if you're in this kind of strategy, you don't really want things zigzagging all over the place. And again, if you look at some other people's videos, there's some guy, I forgot who it was, he wrote a bunch of call options on some tech stock that was like at 15, and over the weekend something happened, and before he had a chance to do anything or the market even opened, it had fallen to like 5 on Monday morning, and he got margin called and his account got wiped out. A high-tech wreck. So that's not exactly something that you want to be engaged in or doing. Anybody who goes through this and thinks it's boring after a year, though, they'd have like an extra 2,800 in their account. So I think they'd find that to be more exciting than, nerve-wracking getting wiped out. And I had a friend one time, they held China online, and they were day trading it. And then in the overnight one night, all of a sudden the stock dropped like 10 or 20 points. And if they had called and asked me what to do, I would have said, look, I mean, usually when something like this happens, you hope it recovers, but it usually doesn't. It just keeps drifting lower. I would have advised them to close the position out immediately. And of course, they were extremely upset because most of their account was gone. But again, that isn't this kind of trade. All right, so I think for just 20 minutes of time and showing you a way to turn a 7.99% dividend yield into an 83% yielder with a theta wheel should be something that people would find of interest if they can start working it and get things to execute properly. All right, I'm signing off for this week. I look forward to your comments.